You're listening to Empress Conversations podcast with your host, Maggie Peary. Conversations with Maggie. Yeah, yeah. Empress. Join us next time on the next episode of Empress Conversations with Maggie. To learn more about guests or for more information on working with Maggie, go to www.empressconversationswithmaggie.com/get-started.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Empress Conversations with Maggie. Today, my guest is Dr. LaTracey McDonald. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're so welcome. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started with publishing and being an author and your whole entire story here.
Well, I started writing as a child. Growing up in the Black family, what happens at home stays at home. And so church was a norm, but therapy wasn't. And so growing up, now we know that things are traumatic experiences and dysfunctional households and different behaviors. And yet at that time, we just knew that we were surviving. And so I would write all the time. No matter what I went through, I would write in mediums of poetry and short stories. And then my imagination would run wild based off of what I experienced. And so with that, I had the opportunity to go off to different college programs and writers programs throughout the United States and to experience writing for myself. And then I submitted my work to a traditional publisher and they told me no. I learned early on that no doesn't necessarily mean no, it means next opportunity. And so it's all about perspective. So for me, I went to school, I took the classes, I got around other writers so that I could learn the processes of writing. And I started my own publishing company, became accredited, and was trained not only with the Publishers Association, but also with the Better Business Bureau and taking college courses and things of that nature to make sure that I knew the coming ages, because everything is changing. Now we're in digital. So to learn those things so that I can not only serve myself, but to serve my clients. And so back in 2012, I published my very first book. And it was eye-opening because I not only started that process, but I helped 29 other women become published authors as well.
Congratulations. What an accomplishment. That was in 2012.
Yes.
So I gotta ask you, because our generation in school, I remember being in school and I had X amount of books to read. I love the fantasy of reading and my imagination going to some fantasy land and the heroes and all this other wonderful things. I remember The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That was my favorite because it literally was escapism for me. That was one of the books that just did it for me. What was the book for you at a young age that really pivoted things for you?
As the bird sings. For me, I was taken away with short stories and poetry. There's truth in it all, whether people want to admit it or not. And I was 13 years old meeting Dr. Maya Angelou and and Ayanna Van Zandt. And to be able to see Black women doing exactly what I wanted to do, and not being afraid to walk up to them, to have a conversation, to be in their circle, in their air, in their energy. It wasn't that I was starstruck or anything. It was more so the representation mattered. And so that was the beginning of where my journey began.
That is wonderful. Let's kind of fast forward a little bit here. 2023, kids today and reading. I saw a little TikTok the other day that said kids that are in the seventh grade are reading at a fourth grade level. And someone once pointed out that, I guess it was the no child. There's so many factors that are affecting that. So I can't pinpoint one. I'm not an education expert on children reading level at any means. Am I claiming that? But somebody said that, the program No Child Left Behind has a big influence on those stats. So, what would you say would be the number one thing to kind of get kids excited about reading again? I remember when Harry Potter came out, it was
Yeah.
controversial, but kids were reading. What is your opinion in terms of how kids of this generation can get that passion back?
As a mother of four children and former educator, I realize that children are in a technology stage. And so their interest in reading, especially a book that is in paper, is difficult for them because that's not stimulating. Everything is overstimulating them. And so my youngest daughter, I saw it firsthand with her because my
Mm,
specialty is special education. And
mm,
and she didn't want to read. So I told her she didn't have a choice during the pandemic because the schools had the parents homeschooling. And so uh, homeschooling, again, I was like, I don't want to homeschool. This is too much. And then we're home all the time in the middle of a pandemic, can't go anywhere, can't do anything. And so I told her she had to write a book, but she can use her technology, her phone, her iPad, her laptop to do so. So she created the opportunity for her to write a book, and now she's 10 and she's written three. Um, for her to have that experience and for her to write three books and for her to be motivated by food, actually. Uh, she she reads more. I allow her to pick books that she likes to read. If it's a comic, it has to have words in it. I don't believe that education is the same per every child. And yes, the levels of reading is very, very low because children are not enjoying the process of reading. In
mm.
schools, they have to read specific books, but they're not of interest to them. Even as adults, we don't want to do things that are not interesting to
Of
us.
course, of course.
And these days, like my grandmother used to say, the children are weaker and wiser, that type of thing, because they want to have something that interests them.
Mm,
Um, if you have a subject matter and the pictures are amazing, you're going to read the information.
this
And
is true.
when you introduce babies and even elders to things that interest them, they're going to read more and it will increase their reading levels and challenge them.
Mm, that's so good, Dr. LaTracey. Let me ask you this. What was the thing that you're going along life, happy and go lucky, and then you decided, I've got to turn this into a business, especially a Black business?
I was sitting on the side of my bed in 2017.
Uh-huh.
I'm a believer. So I have my meditation moments, I have my prayer time and I'm sitting and I'm just listening.
Mm,
And I realize my family doesn't support me. They have that whole rah-rah moment when we first get out. Oh, congratulations. Oh, celebratory. But they're
yes.
not buying the books.
Um,
They're not sharing the posts. They're not coming out to the event. And I had to not take it personal. And while I was sitting on the side of the bed, I realized that I'm not the only one. Uh, I had the publishing company that I started in 2011, published my first book in 2012. And fast forward to 2017, I realized that Black and Brown people that are in this literary genre are only 5%. of the entire writing career.
Wow.
5% out of
Wow.
100. And
Yes.
so with that, I wanted to be the difference. The call that's on my life is to be the trailblazer, to be the blueprint, to show people how they can be support, to show them how they can have different and be more and have more.
Mm.
And so with that, I started Black Authors Rock. It was right around that era when they said Black Girls Rock, Black Girl Magic. And I was like, okay, well, Black Authors Rock. Okay. Everything was available. I trademarked it, the whole 9 yards. Started a community online because I knew I wasn't alone in having the support or lack thereof. And so I had to teach other authors and aspiring writers how to write to their target audience and to know the difference between their target audience and their target reader.
That's awesome. I've always felt to be a writer, you have to have that special bug. It is not for
Mhm.
everyone. It is
Mhm.
not overnight thing because it is either in you or it's not. And what you have done to make resources available for first time authors, and even as yourself, you've published a couple books, which is wonderful, several books. What would be the first bit of advice you would give a budding author?
Do a brain dump.
Hmm.
When you sit down and do a brain dump, set your timer. You can say 15 minutes. Doesn't have to be anything long, and just pour everything out. If you're not a physical writer, do it verbally and do it on your voice recorder and get it transcribed.
Mm,
Why? Because when you are letting everything out, that will put you in a place where everything is empty.
mm,
When you're empty, you won't go through the whole process of writer's block or anything like that because all of your ideas will be down. And
mm,
then you can prioritize your subject matters, your chapters, even your books based off of everything that you put down.
that's really good. That's good advice. So going back into the business that you started with Black Authors Rock, how did you now, you've given us some advice on first time writers, but how did you make your business sustainable that allows you to keep going and live life? What offers does your business provide for authors?
Well, one of the things that I take pride in is being consistent.
Mm,
As a business owner, we have our ups and downs.
yes,
Not all days are going to be good. Life is going to happen. You're going to wake up late. You're going to be, sick some days. You're going to have deaths and even the great days. And yet, being consistent. Even when I could not show up, no one online, no one in my email list, no one in person knew that I was down.
absolutely.
So to be consistent is important. I have an amazing team and we offer coaching, consulting, and all aspects of publishing and promotions. And so with that, majority of the business is online, but we have a flywheel where we take you offline at events. So that's how we are sustainable in business because you can write a book, but if you don't know how to sell a book, if you don't know how to promote a book, if you don't have the proper marketing and branding, if you don't have promotional items, then you're going to be stuck. But that's where we come in. We can assist you with having branding. We can assist you with getting out there. We had authors at the World Games last summer.
That's
You
awesome.
know, yes, and then we have artist awards every year. So with those artist awards, it's an opportunity for you to not only receive the support but the accolades and being honored for the work that you've given out to the world.
Mm,
A lot of people don't understand how important it is just to get a thank you for what you've done. If you share someone's post online, if you share someone's book, if you do a review on their book, if you buy their ebook for 99 cents, that's cheaper than going to the Dollar Tree. If you buy their ebook and you share it, that you just purchased the ebook for 99 cents, that right there will bring their algorithm up. It will also bring the exposure because not only what they're doing, but what you're doing is going to multiply with everyone that you know and who like and trust you.
Yes.
So those are the things that we do in business that have kept us sustainable. I have been full time in my publishing company since 2019, but it took a personal hit. It took me getting sick in order for me to realize I want to do this full time.
Mm,
I want to serve others because it helps with mental health, it helps with physical health,
yes.
uh, it helps with supporting other authors. It gives me a sense of ministry. So I love the fact that I can serve others right where they are.
And that is a perfect segue because you are, for our audience who's listening and watching, you have a base in Mississippi and Alabama, correct?
Correct.
But you work with people. Tell us a little bit more, all throughout the world, only in the US. Where is
We are international. And
your
that is such a blessing because even at our events, we have authors and artists that come in from all over the world to the US to celebrate with us. We have authors that we have published that live all over the world. When I had my 10-year-old daughter, I had a young lady in London write a book just for my daughter because
Oh,
her after cervical cancer, and she said that she wanted to make sure that my daughter knew the promises of God concerning her life.
oh, that is touching.
I'm like, wait a minute,
Right,
you're way over there, and I'm over
right.
here. And so the impact and the influence has not been in vain. And I love the fact that people that reach out, whether they are authors, aspiring writers, or even employees and contractors, they are international and the reach is limitless.
That's awesome. Dr. LaTracey, tell our audience how they can get a hold of you, your contact info, your website. How can someone reach out and work with you?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, we have our Artist Awards coming up in November
Mhm.
here in Huntsville, Alabama, and we can be found at blackauthors.rock.com. Black Authors Rock on all social media. We have the Black Authors Rock community, which has over 5,500 individuals, where we give you support. It's not a promotional group. There's no reason to have 5,500 individuals and we're all promoting. That means we're all just sharing the same $25. No, we are there to support you, to give you those affirmations, to give
Mm,
you that education, to equip you, to give you those opportunities. Or you can find myself, Dr. LaTracey, on all social media as well. Whether it was when I had the big poofy red hair or the short red hair, either way, it's red. And I love just being out there and supporting individuals. And so, if you would like to get your book in the bookstore, we have our marketplace opportunity. Or if you want to become a member of Black Authors Rock, to utilize our market to advertise your books, to advertise your business, to advertise the things that you do for authors, you can become a part of our membership and utilize our platform in order for you to promote and to educate and equip our platform.
that's fantastic. Dr. LaTracey, when COVID hit, how did the industry take a hit?
It didn't.
What?
It didn't. COVID hit 2019, 2020, right?
Yes,
It didn't really magnify until the spring of 2020, but it had hit in
right.
2019.
Yes, yes.
Well, mind you, I had just said that I went full time in 2019.
You did say that.
I wasn't working for anyone else but Black Office Rock. So I had tunnel vision. And so we were not only online, but we actually opened two bookstores, physical bookstores on Keesler Air Force Base and at the Mary C. O'Keefe in Mississippi during COVID. So we made more money during the pandemic. And even looking at the way the world is going right now and how things are revving back up, we made more money and more impact. And I won all type of awards, presidential awards and all of those different accolades, all during the pandemic, um, all during recovery, and no one really saw any shift.
That
If
is
I did,
fantastic.
yes, just and people will look at it, whether you're an author, a speaker, or any type of field that you're in. We fell in love with this Zoom. Everything was on Zoom. School
Oh,
was on
yes.
Zoom.
Everything.
Meetings
School
were
life
on
was
Zoom.
on Zoom. Yes.
Yeah, we were doing Zoom from our bed and having a virtual background. We were doing it from the office, out of the closet, hiding from the kids, the whole 9 yards. And so I used that as an advantage point. If I was in my bed, I would say, "Do you guys like this picture behind me? Isn't it pretty?" Yes. And I would make that a talking point. I was real with people. They needed to know the real. And so we catapulted. We were amazing during COVID. So I pray that we don't have another shutdown. And yet, if we do, we're already equipped with it.
That's awesome. Really, that is fantastic. With I am such a fan of AI. We just talked about this briefly. With everything that is happening in the direction that technology is moving in, how I now have mastered the eye for whenever I see any type of copy or article or anything, I'm like, that's AI generated. You can always tell when something has been written by AI. But how is the writing industry being influenced by the introduction of AI to the public?
People are becoming more lazy.
Oh, we've always been lazy. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
but
We've
but yeah,
always.
we have, but I believe it has gone to a whole nother level. Because you can do photos with AI, you can do social media posts, um, you can do whole curriculums and books on AI, and yet people don't understand that AI is an amazing assisted tool,
Yes.
not one to do it for you.
Yes.
And I believe that it will help and hinder depending on where you are in this great algorithm to get you out there where you will be able to be seen on Google
Hmm.
and Microsoft Edge. But they say that if everything you write is through AI, then it's a ding on your
It
on your
is.
algorithm.
Hmm.
And so even with books, if people are jumping on the bandwagon for KDP, um, which is a subsidiary of Amazon, to use AI just to publish, there's a question on there that asks whether or not you can or have used AI or AI assisted work in your manuscript. And some of that, and I'm not a lawyer, but some of that can't even be copywritten if it wasn't your work because
Mm.
it's a lie. Now, if it was assisted, you can do that, but that it's a lie if you didn't write it. What's the difference between AI doing it all and plagiarism?
Oh,
So I encourage people to use AI because it makes you sound so much better. And yet, use it with wisdom.
yes.
Use everything sparingly. Yes. And know your strengths because just like we mentioned, the level of education and the reading levels, I believe my grandmother when she said weaker and wiser, but they're wiser on how to use technology, not wiser on the knowledge and the know-how to do things. And so I believe that people can utilize the resources that they have, but use them properly.
That's excellent. Technology has always been a great resource.
Mhm.
Let's flip a little bit and talk about the business side of being a publisher. If your target audience of people listening out there come to you, can they get a done for you offer with
Mhm.
your publishing services, or with I know there's self-publishing, but when you do everything and it's done for you, that's always the best part to me. And
Mhm.
that's worth the investment. But on the flip side of the business end, how do you manage that to keep it going and to scale your business so that you put yourself and get more and more people published?
Well, we have the done for you and the done with you. So, our
Mm,
membership program, we offer the opportunity for you to get the training that you need.
mm,
So many people say, well, hey, I want to self publish. Self publish does not mean that you do not need assistance.
okay,
If you are not an editor by trade, do not edit your own book because what you speak out of your mouth is automatically what you're going to speak when you read your work.
makes sense.
So, whether it's wrong or right, you're going to speak it the way that you always speak it. If you're not a graphic designer, yes, you can utilize AI, and yet, AI will give you like 17 fingers here, there, your
Yes,
eye may
yes,
be twitched over here, there.
absolutely.
And yet, it's great for assisted work. But if this is not your field of expertise, get someone else to do it. Stay in your lane. If you are amazing at writing, but you are horrible at promotions and marketing, because those are two different things,
Yes, they are.
you can reach out to Black Authors Rock and we can do the a la carte service for you. Now, with the publishing, we offer the publishing, but because of the way that our company is set up, we are a publishing firm and it's
Mm,
different. And a
okay,
publishing firm offers the services that you need in order for your work to be published. We assist you with even the ISBN number, including with everything else. But that is because most retailers and most libraries will not work with you in getting your books into those places if they are not associated with a certified or accredited publishing company.
mm,
So many people will say, I started my own publishing company. Okay, so are you accredited? Did you pay for the accreditation? Have you taken classes? Are your books registered with the Library of Congress? Who is the imprint on your book?
wow.
Did you only upload it to KDP, even with an ISBN number that you paid for through KDP?
Mm,
If you did those things, that's great, but that will limit you from getting your books into the libraries, the colleges, as well as the retailers.
okay,
Like you can get your books into the Black Authors Rock bookstore, but there's a fee. There's no different than the fee that you would have if you sent your books to Target, to
okay.
Walmart. But people will say, well, I don't want to pay to sell my book. Well, that's called investing. So we offer these services as well as this educational side because we want to show you that whether we publish your book or you published it yourself, we can still assist you in where you are in your writing journey.
Now, Dr. LaTracey, I have got to ask you, what is the inside scoop on becoming a New York Times bestseller?
Money.
So people can basically pay and you can, oh, see, I didn't know that. I did
But
not
the,
know
the thing is that either it's your money or it's people that you know it's their money. So the idea as a New York bestseller versus an Amazon bestseller is the amount of books that you sell.
that. Okay,
And it's going to cost you something. So you might as well do it anyway, whether you do it at the Amazon level or the New York bestseller.
okay.
Most times when you're with a traditional publishing company, that is
Hmm.
a company that will pay you to publish your book. And they will pay you that because they know that they have a book that will bring them revenue. So what they do is they front the money, but then they will also front the marketing so that your book can be sold all around so that you can make the money and they can also make their investment back. So if
Um,
you were to sell 100,000 books,
mhm.
you can become a New York bestseller.
And for Amazon?
For Amazon, it's all about the algorithms as well as the the genre that you publish your book in. I wouldn't recommend that you go to dogs, animals, you know, or even self care if that's not what your book is about. If you publish your book and you choose the correct genre and sub category, then
Uh-huh.
you will be, if you sell your book on specific days, right now it is Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, which are the best days to promote and publish your book. If
Okay.
I tell 100 of my friends to buy my book between 11 and 1, 11 and 1 from the East Coast to the West Coast gives you a 5 to 6 hour window of everyone purchasing your book at that time. So, of course, your numbers are going to go higher during that period.
Yes. Yes.
That's going to make you an Amazon bestseller.
So would it matter if that book was 99 cents or $100 as long as it just sold? Oh, very
It
good.
was,
Very good.
but
Well,
a lot of people say, hey, put it for 99 cents because you can get more people to purchase it. That is true. But if that is your campaign is to become the bestseller, then do that. But you can also become a bestseller selling a ebook for $10 or $35. It just depends on your target audience. So a lot of people have to realize that you have to have a campaign for marketing as well as promotion. You have to give yourself time. People learn differently, and you have to have at least 7 touches with the person in order for them to purchase anything from you or
yes.
to even know, like, and trust you. So it's all about a system. And we assist with that at Black Authors Rise. And your royalties are your royalties,
How long can royalties go on for?
your lifetime.
Oh, that's fantastic. That
As
is
long as
fantastic.
your book is selling, and and even after your book is copywritten, you still have years after you pass on if you have your will established.
Let's get back into these juicy tips that, for others who may not know the ins and outs of the writing industry here. What else would you recommend for? I'm so clueless in terms of how to be a bestseller. That is awesome. If I have a couple of journals or whatever, and I'm thinking, well, maybe this would be a good book or others would want to read it, but not too sure. And you gave the great advice of doing a brain dump. But before I come to you, should I let someone else read it or do I just save it all and, let you look at it? What do you recommend?
Well, the way that our company is set up, and it's
Mhm.
based off of my own personal experience as well as professional, we don't approve or disapprove your work. You invest in getting the services that you need to have done. The only books that we do disapprove are those that cause harm to children
Mm.
or to animals.
Mm.
And in, I've even had people try to publish books that have admitted crimes. I
Oh
don't
my
want
goodness.
anything to
Oh
do with
no.
that. So we disapprove those. But once you pay to invest to get your books published, then we will assist you with that. So, for example, if you said that you have a mommy and mental health book,
Yes.
then if you start marketing your book right when you begin writing it, it's getting the word out well before your book is published.
Oh, even better.
And because people are seeing it, they're hearing you on video, they are seeing you on your social media graphics, they are seeing the shares, they are seeing the emails, the inboxes, they're seeing all of those things. And they're jumping on the different hashtags. So if you're looking at the mental health month, if you're looking at suicide prevention, utilize those campaigns as well to jump on the bandwagon. Newsjacking never hurt anyone, so that they can assist with getting to the next level.
For every author, aspiring writer, and all of this, at that point, would you recommend? And I love that because that also sets up the. My thoughts are 90 miles an hour here. As an aspiring writer, as they're writing that down and working with you, just like you promoted, that would actually encourage pre-sales, right? Because at least then, before it's published, you've got a little bit of funding to go along with it. At that point, would you recommend that someone come to you with social media and a website ready to go so that it helps with the promotion and marketing?
They can already have those things established. If not, then we can assist with those things as well. But one of the things that I do recommend is not to set a launch date without having your book already completed with editing.
Mm.
So many people will say, well, my book is going to be ready on November 1st. Okay, is your book completed by September 15th? Because
Mm.
it still has to go through editing. It's still, and that's several rounds of editing. A lot of people will say, well, I had my aunt Bam Bam to edit my book. And my cousin Junebug read over it too at the family reunion while we were listening to music and eating barbecue. Yes, but we know that that book is not complete. We know that that book is not up to par. And I will be totally honest and tell you firsthand, my first book that I published was terrible.
Oh
I
my.
paid for I paid for editing. The cover was pixelated. I paid for a designer. I I paid for several rounds of proofreading because there's different levels to this editing game. It's the
Mm.
proofreading, it's the developmental editing, it's the,
Mm.
you know, grammatical errors, all of those different things. And so I paid for all of that and it still came back ugly, but it didn't stop me. I marketed that book as real, raw, and unedited and sold it.
Mm.
Still sold.
Mm.
And then 6 years later, I changed the book cover, rebranded my entire business, did an entirely new branding and marketing campaign, and made over
Relaunch.
$10,000
Look
in
at
the
that.
relaunch.
Wow, that's awesome. That is fantastic. That truly is fantastic.
So
Wow.
it's all about systems and it's all about consistency. And,
Mm.
and it's okay to tell people your mistakes. Everybody makes them.
Everybody, everybody. Dr. LaTracey, with every artist, writer, if you're a person who creates something, Erica
Mhm.
Badu said it best. She's an artist and she's sensitive about her bleep.
Yes,
So if we, as a writer, there comes a time where somebody reads it and it goes to the first round of editing and they come back, change this. It hurts. They take it personal because that was their baby. Those were their words that they put on paper. And if the editor writes all over it and edits it, it can be discouraging because all of that, you take it personal until you kind of build a hardest shell. I don't know, for lack of saying it
yes,
any better,
yes,
but you have to develop, even as a graphic person, a writer, whatever you're doing, when somebody comes back with edits on your work, it does feel like a piece of you is being rejected.
yes.
What words of encouragement would you overcome that?
Go to therapy.
Ooh.
Go to therapy. You have to get to a point in business as well as a writer where your skin is not so thick, so thin.
Mm.
People are gonna dislike you just because you're you. It doesn't have anything to do with your work. Everyone makes mistakes.
Yes.
Everyone has, downfalls and yes, it can be a form of rejection, but that rejection, if it hurts you that much, there's something else, some past trauma, some
Mm.
toxicity that you've dealt with that doesn't allow you to properly handle the rejection that is given to you about your book.
Mm.
I like this is totally inappropriate. Let me just say that ahead of time, give you that disclaimer. Have you
Okay.
seen someone with a new baby
Of
and they're
course.
so excited? Oh, look at my baby. Oh, and you take that blanket off that baby and that baby looks like It's an
Cute.
old soul. Hmm. Like it's been through some stuff already as a baby. And you're like, oh, look at him.
He's
Hmm.
so cute.
I
No.
don't even lie anymore. I do. I don't even lie anymore because then I'll be like, oh Lord, I lied about the fact that that baby was cute and the baby was not cute. We have to get to that place. People know that their babies aren't cute, but they got to continue to speak life into that baby.
Yes.
The ugly duckling came out, you know,
Yes.
Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. All those different
All of that.
different that we read when we were growing up. People have to understand that you can transform.
True.
You can transform a book. You can make that book into an experience. We have our annual fundraiser, and I named the fundraiser "Sexy with a Pen." Oh, do you not know all the backlash that I've had? Sexy is a negative connotation of a. Why? Why is sexy a negative connotation? And our fundraiser is to raise funds for children authors. Sexy and children authors don't go together. I said, it's an event name. This is the mission behind it. One benefits the other.
Okay. Yes.
Let's look at Playboy. Playboy can be seen as something negative,
Yes.
but let's just say there are lots of people that learn how to read by reading Playboy magazine.
Never looked at it that way either, too.
It's all about perspective. And we will always say, oh, well, they didn't like my work. They don't like my idea. Then they're
Mm.
not your target audience.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
They're not your target reader. And be okay with it.
It is
If
okay.
if they don't purchase your book, if they don't purchase your product, if they don't invest in themselves, that's one of the things that I have struggled with the most. We have over 5,500 individuals. We say it every week that we have these services. We say it on the emails, we say it on the videos. If they don't invest in themselves, that's with them. Their problem is still going to be the same problem. We're still speaking to the same pain point, and it's still on them. It's not on me. I can't take it personal.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
It's just like we have tens of thousands of emails. One time, you may see an email that says, you must not like us. Just go ahead and unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. You have that right. So I tell writers and artists, it's not for everyone. It's your personal expression. Own it. Be unapologetic and know that representation matters. When I started Black Authors Rock, I will be honest, even to this day, after 5 years, we have more white or other people as clients than Black.
Wow.
I don't understand it, but it's not for me to understand. I have been told I'm not Black enough. I have been told that I don't speak the language, all of those different things. And yet, it has not discouraged me because I go to the schools and see the sweet babies. And I see that they don't have books in the school library that have characters that look like them.
Mm.
So that's what keeps me going.
Wow.
So I realize even my own people may not appreciate or patronize me, but it doesn't stop me. I'm gonna keep going.
Dr.
And
LaTracey, that is awesome. That is
and
awesome.
they should too.
They should, absolutely.
Yeah.
Before we've spoken a lot about being an author and publishing and all this good stuff. One thing under your belt that we have to discuss is that you have some experience in, well, not experience, you went to school for the nonprofit management. Talk to us a
Yeah.
little bit about your work in that arena.
Well, back in my day, I was a latchkey kid.
Okay.
The one that comes home from
Yes.
school, no parent being there.
Yes.
Um, Back in those days, we didn't have the daycare or anything like that. And so I decided to go back to school to learn the ins and outs about nonprofit, not
Mm,
only starting nonprofits, but the missions, the visions, and how to serve the community better.
mm.
because I knew that the government was throwing money at nonprofits. You just had to know how and you had to be set up properly. So when I attained my master's in nonprofit management and executive leadership, it gave me the resources and the tools that I needed in order for me to know, as well as to start Capstone Experience Incorporated and Bar Arts Collective, because Capstone Experience was for the children 6th grade through 12th grade because the community didn't serve them.
Oh, wow.
Even at after school programs, they don't have after school programs for middle school or high schoolers unless you're in sports. They don't have programs that can assist parents, whether they're single parents or two-parent households, with the children and the resources that they need. So starting Capstone Experience was because I went through it myself. We went to the Title I schools. Title I schools have extra money to serve the students. So
Mm,
community organizations that are nonprofits can go into those schools and get paid to serve the students. And a lot of people don't know that. You could even be a for-profit and create a program or a service, just like you. You have your Impress conversations. You can go into the schools, they will pay you to interview and teach children how to start their own podcast. So the education was very, very important to me because I knew that it was not just for right then, but it can take me throughout my life.
Before we wrap up here, any last closing comments, remarks that you would like our audience to know about you, Dr. LaTracey?
That I don't give up.
Oh, I love that.
I have been hit with some of the hardest life challenges,
Mm,
and I can list them all, and yet that doesn't even matter. All that matters is that I'm still here. I'm
yes.
living. I'm not just existing. I'm happy.
Yes.
And I'm a legacy builder for not only my children, but also yours. And so I encourage you to do the same.
That's so encouraging. And one more time so that our audience can know where to find you and follow up and get, some assistance with getting their publishing done. Where can people find you with your email, your website, all that good stuff? One more time, please.
Yes, it's info@blackauthorsrock.com, as well as blackauthorsrock.com for the website. We're on all social media as Black Authors Rock, Black Authors Rock Community, Black Authors Rock Bookstore, or even myself, Dr. LaTracey, as well as our Sexy with the Pen, which is our annual event that comes up in November. This year it's in Huntsville. It was in New Orleans last time, but I'm excited about what is to come, and I look forward to honoring the artists.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure listening to Dr. LaTracey McDonald, who is a minister. She is a published author. And we forgot to talk about you being Publisher of the Year in 2021. Author and Publisher of the Year. I stand corrected there. So congrats on all of those accolades you mentioned, as well as the presidential acknowledgement. So that is actually, we're so proud of you. You should be among the
Thank
list
you.
of all the other greats in African American history writing and all this good stuff that you've got going on. So be sure to follow up. And if any of our listening audience needs some assistance with getting their website, be sure to contact mprintcreations.com. We'll be happy to help you with that. But Dr. LaTracey, it was a pleasure having you on today. I absolutely enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
I appreciate being here. Thank you.
You're listening to Empress Conversations podcast with your host, Maggie Peary. Conversations with Maggie. Yeah, yeah.
Impress.
Join us next time on the next episode of Empress Conversations with Maggie. To learn more about guests or for more information on working with Maggie, go to www.empressconversationswithmaggie.com/get-started.